This is video 2. We will see prevention of infection. So when we say prevention of infection in the hospital is a very important responsibility of the nurse manager, nurse administrator. And we see that in hospital acquired infection are called as nosocomial infection. Okay, and it's also important because from usually if the patient gets infected, then again this one diagnosis will start multiplying into multiple diagnoses. So we'll see what is hospital infection control program. So the main aim of the hospital infection control program is to lower the risk of an infection caused in the hospital, right? What are the various things that it's included? So it is development of an effective surveillance system. So close observation has to be done. Okay, what are the risk of the nosocomial infection? And then development of various policy and procedures has to be done so that to bring down the risk of nosocomial infection. The maintenance of continuous education should be given hospital personnel about universal precautions, how to handle sterile techniques for the patient when dealing with the patient, and then frequent hand washing technique that has to be done when attending one patient to another patient. Okay, then it also includes other things like providing a system of identification and reporting of infection, providing a system for keeping records of infections. So once when they identify, immediately it has to be reported and then records has to be maintained. Then they have to provide for good hospital hygiene, aseptic techniques, sterilization and disinfection practices. So making sure that good hygiene is maintained at the hospital, using of aseptic technique, and then sterilization has to be done. Disinfection practices like doing in the cath lab or OT fumigation has to be done. Providing for personal orientation and continuing education program in infection prevention and control. So providing for coordination of all the departments including medical, nursing, audit committee, quality assurance, all these things has to be taken care. And then the best way to carry out infection control program in the hospital is to establish an infection control committee. So they should have a committee. So the infection control committee should be headed by the hospital administration as infection control officer and should have members of committee consisted of representatives of various. So this committee should also have from various areas of nursing staff, other heads of the department. Okay, and then the roles and responsibility of the infection control committee are as follows. So determine the method of surveillance. So how are you going to do a close observation and reporting? Lay down the criteria for reporting all the types of infection. So there should be a criteria, okay, and then they should review occurrences. So they have to review why it has happened when there are cluster of infections. Then review the record of all infected cases. So seeing how many have got infected, review their records, and results of trend studies has to be reviewed. Different clinical services and their departmental comparison can be done. Approve proposal and protocols through which this infection control can be maintained. And then recommendation in relation to selection used in sterilization. So what are the various methods, how sterilization can be done, what all can be included when it is done. Then review of cleaning agents and cleaning procedures and recommendation in relation to selection and disinfectants. Then development of forms or data sheets used for collection and reporting data for the infection control program. Prepare and periodically update procedures manual of aseptic techniques used in hospital. So what are the various techniques that they are currently using, what could be the changes that can be made. Then they should determine the policy on immunization of personnel working with high risk areas such as cholera, typhoid, hepatitis, HIV, AIDS. Even the nurses or the medical personnel can be immunized. Okay, so it will be good so that they do not become carriers to other patients. And then we have to periodically update procedures manual of aseptic technique, and then policy on immunization. Okay, so this we have seen. And then screening of food handling. Okay, screening also should be done that there is no other diseases that is found. Okay, and then you have determined the content and methodology. Training program has to be given to the personnel how to handle and how to prevent infection control. And then infection control officer cannot perform day-to-day activities of the program. It should be handled by senior experienced nurse. They can take the help of the other departmental nurses. There should be at least one infection control nurse for every 250 beds, we should have one infection control nurse, and then the task of the infection control nurse will include the following. So basically these are the responsibilities of the infection control nurse. There are also courses that are provided, after BSc or GNM nurse. If you are interested to become an infection control nurse, you can go into certification course also. So how can we do that? Daily visit to be done to all the wards and patients who are holding units, and then we have to check all the wards and patients, check the ward visitors also we have to do for telling tale record suggestive, because they can also be the carriers. Then collection and tabulation of daily data of incidents. So knowing, taking census of how many infected cases from the hospital every day, and then we have to take samples of blood, stool, sputum, urine swab can be taken, and it can be given to the dispatch to the lab, and lab reports to be gathered, and we have to check, compiled. Then initiating the hospital infection control while documenting for nosocomial infection, so that has to be documented. So complications of ward wise, discipline wise or procedure wise statistics to be taken. She can also see if they are disposing proper waste, whether they are following according to the color code, whether they are bending and destroying the needles, are they putting into the solution properly. All these things also can be checked by the nurse. Then complications of ward wise, discipline wise or procedure wise statistics to be taken. Daily visit of lab, results of day sample, monitoring and supervision of infection amongst hospital staff. Training also should be given to the aides, paramedical aides, how to handle it in a hygienic way, and use of aseptic techniques. Then assist in bacteriological studies in all cases. So nurse working in ICU should be particularly cautious of aseptic practices, because those patients are already at risk of infection because of so many reasons. So good practice of aseptic techniques has to be done. Okay, so next we will go to, so with this we have finished with the safety measures. So next, the topic is about patient population assignment and what are their nursing care responsibility. How do we assign the patient, okay, and what are the nursing care? It is the same, patient classification or assignment, it's the same, okay. So there are many methods for patient or population assignment which should be practiced for an effective patient care and nursing management. There are mainly 3 methods of assignment of nursing work. These methods are functional method, case method, team method. There are 2 other methods of assignment, that is modular nursing, primary nursing. So we will see what are these. Okay, so functional method of assignment. In this method, tasks are divided among nurses. For example, the main task in words are oral medication, personal hygiene, injection, etc. So when we say functional method, we carry out various activities for the patient. As a nurse, you should be able to take care of, our medical administration, personal hygiene, injection. And then in this method, different kinds of tasks are assigned to different nurses. The functional method implements classic scientific management which emphasizes efficiency, division of labor, rigid control. So when a nurse is given, so other nurses also will be assigned with the same kind of activities, where you have to take care of the patient in providing, personal hygiene, medications, okay, and other procedures for the patient. So this is a traditional method, and it is a, called as functional method. So what are the advantages of functional method? It improves efficacy of nurses. So nurses develop skill when they are able to give care in all these areas. Due to division of work, this method is effective. So equally other nurses also will be assigned with the work, so it becomes easy and it is effective. Nurses become efficient by repeating the procedures. Helps in enhancing skills. Okay, so when they do it for multiple patients, automatically what happens, their skill also improves. So we'll see what are the disadvantages of functional method. So no satisfaction to patient. So many nurses will be handling many things for the patient. So one person will be giving personal hygiene, the other person will be taking care of personal hygiene, other person will be dealing with only injections and medication. So what happens, there is no satisfaction for the nurse as well as the patient. Due to repeated activities, lack of interest among nurses. So same you have to do for every patient. So what happens? So there is a lack of interest. More confusion will be there if nurses attended one patient. So if you have 20-30 patients, you have to give medication. Sometimes you will be confused if you had done, or you have left out any patient. Okay, and then less accountability will be there, because each one is handling different thing. Accountability also becomes, very less. So case method. So we will see in functional method, where the nurses will do different procedures for different patients. For example, Same patient will be giving personal hygiene to all the patients. Then the other patient will be giving medications to all the patient, oral medication, IM or injections to all the patients. So each nurse will be divided. Okay, so accountability also is decreased. Case method. So in this method, in case method, one patient or group of patients is assigned to one nurse or patient care. So what happens, group of patients now are given to one nurse. Okay, so that is called as case method. In this method, nurse has to give complete care to the patient. She will only do everything A to Z for the patient. For example, a nurse is providing total care to the patient, like taking vital oral medication or injections or personal hygiene, giving diet to the patient. What are the advantages? The nurse can see better and attend to total needs of the patient. So she will get to know whether this was done or not. More individual care is possible through case method. So more individual will be benefited through this method. Job satisfaction is there for the patient as well as for the nurses. Patient also feel very secure. Oh, this nurse only is responsible for me for the shift. So they will feel very secure and they will not have multiple people attending on them. So division of work may lead to quality of care. Okay, so maybe if more nurses are there, it can be equally divided with the patients, like 4 patients can be given or 2 patients can be given. So it helps in maintaining human relation with that same person. We can talk, maintain IPR, provide psychological support. They will also feel good to open up their heart to you, tell their problems. Just imagine 4 or 5 nurses attending one patient. He will be confused to whom to say. Okay, so these are the advantages. Disadvantages, less work is done in a given period. So only little work can be done because full work will be done by the same nurse, not helpful in improving the skills because she is associated in doing multiple work now, and then more workers are required for patient care. Okay, so she needs more of assistance and help also to handle the patient. Okay, so that is case method where one nurse will be taking care of group of patients, then with multiple activities. Then team method of assignment. So this method of assignment is team nursing, was actually developed in 1950. In team nursing, team leader is responsible for knowing the condition and needs of all the patients assigned to the team and planning the individual care. So there will be a team leader and he will be in charge or she will be in charge of all the necessary care that is given to the patient. So this team leader should be a experienced person. Okay, so it will distribute, the team leader will distribute the work among subordinates and keep a strict watch. So this person can be like a shift, in charge with more years of experience, and then he will have other registered nurses down to him, and he will have, they are called as subordinates, and he will divide the work for them and he will be giving them, and he will make sure if they are watching, he will be watching whether they are performing those activities or not. So these duties are distributed by team leader according to the needs of the patient. Patient needs are physical, psychological, psychosocial, emotional and spiritual. All these needs has to be met by the nurses to the patient. These duties are performed under the supervision of a team leader. So he will watch whether his subordinates are doing or not. So what are the advantages of team method of assignment? Better patient care can be given because supervision also is there. It helps in improving the skills, attitude and knowledge. Then conflict management and stress management can be done. If there is any kind of conflict, it can be resolved. It will lead to job satisfaction among nursing personnel and more useful in achieving the nursing goal. It will lead to esprit de corps, okay, that is we feeling, unity among the team members, and then workload can be shared. This method is cost effective. Okay, next you have disadvantages. More nursing personnel is required to fulfill the target. So if each nurse is given with one patient, in this case they might require more nursing personnel to reach a target. If team leader itself is lazy, then organization cannot fulfill the desired outcome. So he should be encouraging, motivating, supervising, coordinating. If he is active only, it will be achieved. If he is neglecting, then it becomes difficult. And then you have conflicts occurred in nursing personnel may need to delay in fulfillment of goals. In case if there is a conflict among the nurses, then it can hinder the goals. There is less individual responsibility. Okay, so accountability also becomes less, as well as responsibility also here is less. So these are the disadvantages of team method of assignment. Next we will go to another method of assignment. That is the 2 kinds that we have seen: modular method of assignment, and then we have primary nursing model of assignment. So we see that in modular, this method is a modification of team and primary method of assessment. This method can be used where inadequate professional nurses practice primary care nursing. Here, each registered nurse assisted by para-professional delivers as much care as possible to the patient. Registered nurse plan the care and gives direction to para-profession or implementation. So what they do here is one registered nurse will have another supporting nurse. So they will be para nurses like A&M nurses under them. So they can take help of the para, professionals or para nurses, okay, who are under them like A&M, who have done their course for 1.5 years. So they can take their help. So what are the advantages in modular method of assignment? Workload shared. With this, workload is getting shared. All care is directed and planned by registered nurse. Only will give orders, whatever, like injection and all she can give, but giving bath, okay, or then giving evening care to the patient and then assisting in sitz bath, okay, or then providing with bedpan, okay, all these things the other nurse can do it, who is a paraprofessional. All care is directed and planned by registered nurse. This assignment is also cost effective. Feeling of participation, belongingness is facilitated with team leaders. So what happens when they give the care? So they also get involved in total patient care. So it leads into good cooperation. What are the disadvantages? There is less individual responsibility and independence regarding nursing functions. So one can blame the other. He can say, no, I didn't do this. I expected you to do. If there is a communication gap, if there is misunderstanding or conflict between the registered nurse and the paraprofessional, then it can lead to problem. Okay, and then all personnel must be client centered. If they are procedure oriented or if they are not, willing to help the patient, then it can become problematic. Then you have primary nursing method of assignment. So in this method, it focuses on patients and not on task. So it is not only about the procedure, they give importance to the patient. In primary nursing method, only registered nurse can provide total care to the patient. So here we see that nurses only provide total care to the patient. Number of patients for nurse may be 4 to 6. Only this registered nurse is responsible for this patient of health care provision. She is also responsible for these patients of health care provision. She will all for care provided by her. So she is held accountable if anything happened to the patient, because she is taking care of 4 to 6 patients. She has no para profession under her. It is her who is taking care of the patient, providing total care. They may be associate nurse to help the main primary nurse. Just they will have a associate nurse, primary nurse supervisor, associate nurse. So in case here she will handle everything, but a nurse will be given. If at all, if they do also, she is required to stand there and to supervise the associate nurse that is given to her, because they are not professional. Okay, so supervision is required. The primary nurse has autonomy, freedom and authority for admission, interview, develops a nursing care plan according to the needs of the patient. So she can do the admission procedure. So in abroad it is followed like that. Find out the problem needs, based on that she can give total care to the patient. Primary nursing method of assignment depends upon the type of hospital, control of hospital, staffing pattern of the hospital, philosophy of the hospital and objective of the hospital. Okay, so all these, so it depends upon the type of hospital, their philosophy and objective. So this is about modular nurse, where she has a para nurse and she can divide the work and give. But here in primary she has to do everything, but there can be associate nurse, but she has to supervise how they are doing. Okay, so we'll see what are the advantages. So increased turnover of the employees because of this handling 4 to 6 alone. What is happening is we see that total care, when it is given, there are actually lot of turnover of the employee. It is increasing, and then we see that objective of the hospital and nursing services are met, goal is achieved. This method is economical, cost effective. Nurses accountability, it is full responsibility of the nurse, registered nurse. It is a creative and innovative method. It also improves the skill or enhances skill in nursing care. So disadvantages may be isolated from colleagues, nurse, because she is always with the patient, taking care, too busy, no time with maintaining rapport with the colleagues. There is little avenue of group planning of patient care. There is no group planning because it is her decision from the time of admission till discharge, right? So group planning is not possible. So these are the disadvantages. So this is classification, patient classification and assignment method. Okay, so and then we have seen safety in case of prevention in the hospital or any kind of emergency or disaster management. Okay, so with this we have finished this unit, or maybe two or three videos we will finish this unit.